Hello everyone, I welcome you all back to my channel, The Everything TV. Constant and consistent motivation comes when you build your business around an idea that's bigger than just making money. Build a business that makes an impact on the lives of those whom your business serves, a business that creates freedom and financial security. Get clear on your mission and the values that shape the actions you're taking. Never start a business just to make money. Start a business to make a difference. This same rule was adopted by the Tata Group. Let's know more about it today. In this video, we shall go through the three generations which was responsible for the growth and rise of India's one of the most successful companies.
Tata, one of the most successful companies in India, has pioneered most of the industries from past 2 centuries, promoting India's market at the global stage. Now let's go back to the time of British Empire. Back then, India was the largest exporter of cotton. Few of the British East India Company's strict policies led the local entrepreneurs to start their own ventures. Likewise, it also led the First World War of Independence, or what we call the Sepoy Mutiny, in 1857. This brought in the control of the British Raj in India. Compared to the British East India Company, the British Raj was much more focused on maintaining the peace. It did not exploit the Indian population and focus much on development activities like the railways, for example. The British gave equal opportunities for the locals to establish their ventures. India being an exporting country, the first investments came in the same sector, and Jamsetji Tata was among the first entrepreneurs. He was the son of the exporters and he was graduated from Elphinstone College in 1858. This being the right time to get into investment, he moved to Hong Kong in 1859 to set up a subsidiary of his father's company. Seeing the scale of British commerce there, he realized that his Tata exporting business had a high global potential. Over the course of next decade, he traveled to Japan, China and Great Britain to establish the network of distribution of his father's business. He eventually created his own exporting company in 1868 using the money he made. Later, he built textile mills on his own. His first textile mill was Empress Mills in Nagpur. His main idea was to find the best practices in the world and bring it back to India. The policy of offering sickness benefits and pensions to his employees was incorporated by him in his textile mill, becoming the first person amongst other entrepreneurs in the country to incorporate these policies to ensure the safety of his employees. Looking at the wonders created by the Industrial Revolution in Europe, he also wanted to bring those changes in his country. Thus, he started to work on steel production plant in 1901, naming it as Krupp Steel. Jamsetji also realized the power of tourism and started to build a series of hotels in 1903. And one among them was Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, which is even now recognized as one of the best hotels in Mumbai. He was not only an intellectual entrepreneur, but also a man with golden heart who valued education and donated lands and buildings towards the establishment of Indian Institute of Science. Leaving the whole company in the hands of his two sons, Jamsetji Tata died in a business trip in 1904.
Jamsetji's sons fulfilled many of his father's ambitions. Together, they oversaw the creation of India's first steel works in 1907, India's first cement plant in 1912, and first indigenous insurance company in 1919. By 1938, there were 14 companies established by Tata and Sons. In the following generation, J.R.D. Tata was the one who took the leadership of Tata and Companies. Jahangir Tata, being a distant cousin, joined the Tata Company in 1925 and was raised in France. He was the close friend of Louis Blériot, the man who made the first flight across the English Channel in 1909. J.R.D. was passionate at aviation. In 1929, he obtained India's first pilot license. His first big project at Tata was to develop an airline. In 1932, he created Tata Air Service, which carried only mail, and then started to carry passengers in 1938. This also helped British in World War II. He established Tata Motors in 1945, and in 1954, he made a partnership with German company Daimler. India's independence in 1947 was not so beneficial for the Tatas. The policies made by the then government were all against private establishment. Looking at the success of Tata Airlines in 1953, the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru unilaterally decided to nationalize the airlines and kept JRD as the chairman of airlines till 1977. Later, the company saw the downhill and eventually debts increased. JRD Tata took all the precautions and didn't let the politics enter his business. In his 52 years of leadership, JRD expanded the Tata Group from 14 companies to 95 companies. The introduction of Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act by the Government of India in 1969, which mainly targeted Tata, brought downfall in the expansion of the company. Thus, JRD started losing his leadership over the company.
This was the time when JRD sent Ratan Tata to fix all the problems. Ratan was one of the grandsons of Jamshedji Tata. He joined Tata Group in 1962. His first major product came in 1971, which was very difficult. He was given a struggling Tata company known as Nelco, National Radio and Electronics Company, which was the biggest producers of radio in India in 1950s. Ratan's focus was on technology and future. Instead of the radio, he invested in the development of satellite communication in 1980s. Ratan claimed the leadership of Tata in 1991. Under the then Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, with the introduction of LPG, liberalization, capitalization and globalization, there was a rise in increase of exports and imports, through which India entered into the global market, which in turn brought many foreign competitors to the Tata Group. Ratan had to re-establish the ownership over all the Tata subsidiaries. He sold 20% of Tata Sons and invested it in the development of Tata Steel and Tata Motors. And in 1990s, Tata was losing to all the foreign competitors. However, Tata's plan was brilliant. He started acquiring foreign competitors and started absorbing them into Tata groups. Tata's buying streak began in 2000 when his Tata Tea acquired Tetley Company of Great Britain. Over the next decade, Tata began acquiring hundreds of companies. Most notably, he acquired Jaguar and Land Rover for $2 billion in 2008. Today, most of their revenue comes from outside countries. Today, Tata Group, with an annual revenue of around $113 billion is home to some of India's biggest companies. With a brand value of $19 billion Tata is easily the most valuable and recognizable brand name from India. The Tata Group employs around 7 lakh people as per the reports of 2019. Tata Group demonstrates a very high value-based business development activities, which not only helps the development of its diversified business activities, but also helps the overall development and growth of its thousands of workers and their quality of life. Nevertheless, ultimately it contributes and creates very high standards in the value-based development and boosts the economic growth of the nation. The Tata Group has always been a helping hand in the development of the nation. They have helped in the development of educational institutions and in other sectors. They have always supported the government in hard times. Although Tata Group was established as a startup firm, it gradually acquired a position where it plays a major role in increasing the GDP of the country, and it sets a great example to other building startup companies and many other evolving entrepreneurs. Thank you.